I'm Julie White. I've been doing readings now for about 25 years. I do classes twice a month now, sometimes with women that have been coming to me for about 7 years, the same class. I call it Light Worker Support Group. I know I saw things as a kid. I would see things in the room. I knew all of a sudden I started as a younger adult in my 20s knowing stuff about people, but not thinking about it much, not thinking about making a career out of it. Until I started doing acupressure and put my hands on people and just knew stuff. Like I'd touch them and I'd know that their father worked for the Navy. I could just say it, I just knew. So that's when I started to realize that this could actually develop into something useful. I was a psych major, I wanted to be a psychologist when I grew up, until I started going to psych school and realized it was way too linear and scientific. When they made you do things like take statistics, then I realized that they were trying to get you to do experiments. And anyway, I found that I was fairly psychic around then. From there, I went on and took aromatherapy, bioenergetic repatterning, Reiki, and I also did do conscious channeling. There was actually a class for conscious channeling. But I mean, you know, to be a psychic, you really don't need to do training per se. I think you just need verification that you can do it. I went to a psychic myself for about 7 years, and at one point she said to me, "You've got to quit taking classes and start doing it yourself." She goes, "There's like people lined around you above your head like an airport, all these planes wanting to land, and you've got to just make the leap and do it." I was doing readings sort of like almost like hoping that nobody would come, you know? It's scary, you know? To me, for a long time, psychics were the people on TV that were made fun of. They were the comic relief. To some extent, it still kind of is. But so it was kind of scary. It's not like, oh boy, I'm going to be a psychic and get a lot of attention. There are 4 different psychic types. We all have aspects to one or the other, but some are stronger than the others. Clairvoyant, it's this third eye. It's like this little funnel here. And to me, it's like a black backdrop where you see pictures. Sometimes they're moving, sometimes they're just a flash. So it's clairvoyant, it's in this area. Empath it's the stomach area. It's, you know, if you're primarily empaths, I can tell from sitting across from someone because they're feeling me with their stomach. They're anxious with their stomach. This is where they live a lot. They can walk into a room and feel who's feeling sad, who's feeling good, kind of just sense the energy. If you move up to the clairaudient, they're in this area. They tend to just hear information, and the clairaudient is often the person that doesn't know they're psychic. They kind of hear stuff in here, but they think it's their own voice. So they'll all of a sudden know stuff, but it comes out verbally. Prophetic is like funnel comes in through the top of your head. And it's just almost like a download, like you're downloading a CD and you play it back. And to me, it's more just knowing stuff. It's not necessarily pictures or sound. It's just all of a sudden you just blurt stuff out. I'm mostly prophetic, then clairvoyant, then empath, then clairaudient. I developed a thing when I do readings. I do a little procedure every time where I call in the guides, where I open up my chakras, where I spend about 5 minutes sort of telling myself, and now it's almost automatic, like you're going to go into an altered state. So when a client comes, I tell them we're going to do a little meditation, and we do that together. So take 3 deep breaths and see it coming in through the navel out to the top of the head, just so it will calm you down and get you. It helps me to read somebody a lot easier if they're feeling relaxed too. So just take 3 deep breaths into the navel out to the top of the head. I actually do get into a state where I feel kind of stony, you know, just a little bit buzzed. It's kind of fun, you know. I get spaced. First time a reading, I usually go for about an hour. Most people come in with relationship and career issues. I'm pretty good now at timing, so I can usually tell people this will happen in 3 months. You're going to meet somebody then. I do some medical intuitive things now. I'm always make sure people go to the doctor for backup, but every once in a while I can say, you know, you feel damp. I think this is you're growing something. You should have that checked out. I developed a scale on like a 1 to 10. How much does this light up? You ask me a question, you're planning to do this, and I'll say that really lights up. or I'll say, not so much, it's just blank. I just don't see that happening. And it's their choice whether they do it or not. But after a couple times when I say this does not light up and they do it and it didn't work, then after a while they'll trust me. I've had some of the same clients for years and years. I tend to work with women more because they're more open to this, just because. I do have some men clients, but the difference between men and women is women will be willing, they tend to be willing to believe that I could do this, whereas men are anxious. Like, men would walk into the store and go, I bet you knew I was coming. And I usually say, I was thinking of other things at the time, sir. You know, I'm sitting around, you know, so they make a joke out of it, but it makes them uncomfortable. So I tend to work more with women. I'm not on TV, I'm not out to write a book, or it's not been my particular life path to shift everybody's perception. It's just my job to be sort of like a low-key psychologist who happens to get intuitive information.